Miami, 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 Miami. It feels like Miami.
Hello, hello, hello. No, this is not G up in here, and I don't know where G is. He probably stretching somewhere doing yoga. But you got me, Tiff, and your girl, Bon. Bon, say what's up to the people.
What's good, people?
And behind the scenes, we got Pablo, PS1.
The intern.
the intern on the ones and twos behind the scenes. So I literally just wanted to do like a little check-in just to see where we were, what's going on, and how we doing. We gonna kick this off with my man Tyler, the creator. Tyler, the do all missed the first half. We got to get into this second half. So, admittedly, I fell asleep last night because I'm on the East Coast, and man, oh man, that ain't those dogs were not barking. But I watched some of the highlights today, but Bon, I'm interested to get into your thoughts as to what we see from him in the first half versus what we see in the second half. And remember, let's think about the fact that you and I have been talking about this for it's been a while this season that we've been discussing this up and down play. And I don't even know if you want to call it up and down, but there are things that are noticeable that happen between the first half and the second half. So why don't you get into it?
I think it's a lot of things. We say all the time, multiple things can be true at the same time. And I think that there maybe is some stamina things that can come into play. There's definitely some heightened level of attention things that are happening, and just kind of like game flow types of things. So we typically begin games. We always begin games with a cross screen for Bam. That's the first thing we do. We get his touches. But the bulk of the first, 4, 5, 6 kind of ish minutes is Tyler, trying to kind of get in his field, getting his feet wet, and seeing where it is that he can because really he is our ball dominant ball handler. He is the creator for what this team kind of wants to do offensively. So after establishing Bam, then it makes sense to see, okay, where does Tyler feel like he can wiggle? Where does it feel like, he can kind of get loose at? And so, he has this run, and then, I guess if Jimmy is there or not, then, he kind of comes in and gets his touches, and the bench starts to fill in. And I think that it's just a lot of, like I said, there could be some stamina things. There's definitely some gameplay things. And just, second half, fourth quarter is winning time. And not necessarily that the first quarter isn't winning time or doesn't matter. But, a defense that's worth a damn is going to tighten up. It's going to lock down. You're not going to get the same easy types of looks that you got in the first half. I'm going to adjust to you rejecting this screen and trying to go. There's just adjustments that are made. So I think it's a bit of a few different things. And it's kind of unfortunate how, noticeable the contrast between the two halves are with him.
I think you saw the play that John Jablanca, a.k.a. number one Heat hater.
Listen, Jay Gender.
Right, Jay Gender. That's what the streets is calling him.
Right.
So there's a play where I can't remember who, but someone sets the screen for Tyler, and basically they're trying to get Paul George off him. So it doesn't work. He gets the ball again, rejects the screen, and now he's going one-on-one. It bared no fruit. Like let's not even pretend it like it went anywhere. But what within that play, what did you see that he could have done instead of literally trying to just take the ball and go at Paul?
I think so. I know exactly the play that you're talking about, and some of it is at the fault of the person feeding Tyler the ball. So if he's coming off of that pin down, if he's getting into a curling action, maybe that entry pass can come from the wing so that it can kind of catch him in stride of his curl and kind of go into the basket. That ball coming from directly the top, and you see that he's trying to kind of curl. It's probably thrown a little bit behind him, so he's kind of having to stop his momentum. PG is, a great defender, he's going to catch up. And I don't even, those are just like some small things that maybe were present there. I have to go back and see it, but those are things that I've seen consistently from this group. Small things like that in a bunch of their different, kind of offensive sets. But just even the play call in itself, I think warrants some, like, this is what we're trying to do. This is what the action was. Right. We don't set great screens. We don't lay wood on screens. So you got a crafty, skilled defender trying to get through that, and surely it's going to get some bust up. And then once he got it, he started to play with it again, not in stride and kind of in ISO territory. And you, Tyler, I'm Paul George. I'm not going to let you like ISO me in the middle of the floor.
Right. Because I think like if you're a pretty good to great defender, you want someone to play with the ball, because in essence, I just want you to kill all your clock. So it's interesting because I felt like just that play alone is kind of indicative of the entire season thus far, regardless of who's on the court, where we have a tendency to make things harder for ourselves than it really just needs to be.
Everywhere. Yes, from multiple different positions.
Right. So do you think, because he has the ball a lot in his hands in the first half, and you spoke to it a little bit about stamina. So it takes a lot of stamina to get into your shot repeatedly over and over, and then also, come down and give your best efforts on the defensive end. So do you think it would make sense for, even if you wanted to in the second half, maybe he comes off the ball a little bit more, like you said, maybe he does a little bit more of the quote unquote dunking action. Maybe we see him cut a little bit more. Maybe at some point he can stand in the corner. We know he can shoot it.
Yes. I think there's a lot to that. I think you're absolutely right. And I don't know that it's necessarily, so maybe he can do some of the dunking action things. It might not result in the same types of shots that he gets. But yeah, the movement, the cutting, the starting in one spot, kind of coming to the ball. And it was a game recently where he did a little bit of it. But to your point, like, I don't know that we see big enough doses of that. And, we don't have point guards or whatever, but we do have people who can just make that initial pass into whatever the, flow of the action kind of is. And especially if like Bam's the screener, people play so far off of Bam, you're coming off that handoff into clean space. And so, but it takes a lot, right? To play off the ball. You have to move, you have to time things, you have to like put effort, kind of into your cuts and stuff. So, but I do think that there's space to get into some different sets and different setups for him, especially in the second.
Right. And I guess like that kind of does lead into my next topic. It's the health of this team. Because and I keep saying it does not equal 2 + 2. We are beyond. We are way beyond that. Everybody's hurt. Like I don't know who's not hurt at this point. Everybody, there's something that's bothering everybody. And I think you said something earlier that I think people don't understand. Whereas everybody's like, oh, wait till we get healthy and then we'll see what we got. Well, I think that was the reality like a month and a half ago. Wait till we get healthy and we can see what we have. But the problem is, as the season wears on, you don't really have the grace period for everyone to get healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So where does that leave us?
It leaves us like perpetually disjointed. And even as you say, so you're waiting for Jimmy and let's say Tyler to get healthy, but the games are still happening. Games are still being played, and that's still a load on the people who are there. So while you're waiting for Jimmy and Tyler to get healthy, Bam's still carrying all of this. Caleb's still putting all of this on his knee. Josh is what spinal arthritis? I just saw the message you sent me that like that's crazy. And so so you're waiting for pieces A and B to get right, but now pieces C, D, E are also taking on just the atrophy of the season. And so now A, B gets healthy, C through E is out, and so you don't ever get a large enough sample size of what the totality of your team is supposed to look like. the three of them have started, finished, still played only 6 games together. And it's just hard to, everything's always in flux. Your role players are always in flux.
Right.
You just don't have a good sense of the totality of your team. And yeah, to me, it just leaves you kind of perpetually searching for what it is that you can get with what you do have whenever
Right.
you happen to have it.
Right. Because I think that like the one thing that we've seen throughout all this, the constant has been Kevin Love.
Yeah.
Kevin Love has been he's honestly been the one constant player every night who brings something. But you can't. Kevin Love is 79 years old. We
He's
cannot rely.
92 years old.
We can't rely on 105-year-old Kevin Love.
It's
So
hella salt in that 113-year-old salt and pepper.
right. So I'm a little bit worried about
Yeah.
where the continuity comes from at some point, because even if you do get all these guys back on the court, then you have to say, okay, do we have enough time to try to mesh and put something together?
Yep.
Do we have enough time to salt out a 8-9 man rotation?
Yeah. Am I confident in any particular 8-9 group of people?
Right.
Like, just have I seen enough in any
Right.
8-9 group?
Because I don't think there's, it's a secret. You're only as healthy as Jimmy is at this point.
Right.
And they've been, lucky to cobble wins together this season, but you haven't beaten anybody of notoriety. You haven't beaten not one single good team. And at some point, you need to see this team compete against other
Yes.
really good teams to see where they are and to see where certain players are. I think my biggest problem is, if we even quote unquote say Jimmy is healthy, right? And he can come back and be whoever y'all think he is, Super Jimmy, I've been
Right.
just chilling Jimmy, all these
Put the
things.
cape on Jimmy.
Exactly. What's around him?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I don't know. What's around him has been what's been around him, and but again, but it's odd though, because okay, so Duncan has been around him these 4 or so years. This is a different Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
Bam's pretty much been around him in the same capacity. Be honest, he's pretty much been around Jimmy in the same kind of capacity he is. Kind of Tyler too. Kyle's getting older, and so like you have what you've kind of always had. You put whatever weight you want to put into the 2 guys that left this off summer, and into whatever it is that you feel like you brought into this summer. But the nucleus of this group is kind of who they've been. But everything else around them, all these other teams are adding and are getting better. And it's always Heat and 5, Heat and 6, or whatever. But you cannot discredit what other teams are doing to solidify kind of their core. And ours has been what it is, Tiff. But we've a little bit of our health has been not a good thing, but we are so kind of beaten down because we've made like such deep runs over the course of these kind of 4 years. If it's 120, 90 days worth of an off season, there's 170 days worth of like a regular season, just the regular season. That's not counting playoffs. So we're just, I don't know, man, we're just grinding these same gears, and at some point shit's just gonna get smooth and it's not gonna catch, and we just I don't know, I fear us just spinning.
Right. And then I guess the counter to that would be, all right, so we got everybody. We feeling good.
Right.
What do we do with this offense? Because we also talk about there's just not enough space on the floor. And I keep saying you don't need to shoot threes all the time to just consider yourself having space. So if we've got everybody, what are we doing with the offense?
That's such a loaded question. there's so many different ways you can go about, kind of talking or picking at that question. What do you do with Tyler in the offense? What do you do with your rotations within the offense? Can we keep Duncan engaged and because that, keeping in a buck, when things stall down, when
Right.
shit gets stale, there's some Duncan involved action that gives you some stretch of a
Right.
defense. I have continuously had my feelings about Bam and what I think moving him around as a chess piece can kind of open up, but you don't have the rest of the pieces that would allow you to move him the way that I would like to. And he doesn't have the game yet to move him into these other places. So I don't know, man. You can start some sets out higher. There is some things that you can do, but the group is what it is until it's not, or until they decide to really do more or different or other
Right.
things.
Well, because we were talking about there's instances now where nothing's happening and all of a sudden it's kind of like Duncan save us.
Child,
So I and
look
listen,
at
Duncan
us.
has grown. Look at us.
Look,
Never thought we'd be here.
who'd have thought,
Like
girl?
Duncan has grown leaps and bounds. Like he
Yeah,
is he's a whole nother player. But the
right,
reality is, considering the people that we have on the roster, I
right.
feel like if we are continually looking to Duncan, we've done something wrong.
We've gone astray. We've lost the plot. And not even looking to the Duncan actions that we know have been fruitful for us. A couple seasons ago, I was tired of spamming DHO. I thought that it stymied too much of the rest of offense.
Right.
We got this two-man action. No one else is doing anything. But you can't say we weren't getting, kind of some good stuff out of that.
Right.
The issue, though, for me now is Duncan has added things to his game. His dribble is tightened up. He's a kind of a straight line driver, using his body well in his drives. But that's a counter. That is something
Right.
that he developed to combat the way that he was being overplayed. People just running Duncan off the line, jumping high out on him. He's cutting back door. He's, shifting. He's letting defenses shift with his body and these types of things. Now, it seems like we're looking at Duncan to do the counter things primarily.
Yep.
That last game, you had Jimmy Tyler and whoever else just kind of standing on the perimeter waiting for Duncan Robinson to take cats off the bounce.
Yep.
And how did we get here? Why did the counters now become the main dish? I don't want appetizers for my main dish.
Right.
Let me have my finger foods where they're supposed to be.
Right. I think that's there's a lot of problems with that, because if that's what's happening in the half court and we're not getting out and running,
Yeah.
then I don't know where you pull your offense from, because then it's going to go back to what, Jimmy, or you're going back to, because you can call it out what it is. You're either going to go back to Jimmy being a wrecking ball,
Right.
or you got Tyler doing his thing, or you have Bam doing a jump shot. So how do you weave in? You have to weave in all these things to keep these three guys active, but to also make sure that your role players are playing a part. And I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet how, because like you said, we've only seen them together, what, 6 games?
6, start to finish.
Right. And they were fine. They didn't look outerworldly. They didn't look terrible, but they were
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what any of this looks like. Especially then when you only have Kyle, and it seems as if Jaleb, I've put them together.
I'm weak.
Caleb and Josh are vying for the same actions.
Yes, Jaleb. Yeah. But but it could work. And so in one of them games where we finally got the 3 of them together, you know how we always used to say, like, Jimmy and Bam be in each other's way, just want to cut and sit on each other's laps. there were at least two possessions that I can remember distinctly, and I think I tweeted them, where you saw the three of them operating in like their own kind of carved out levels of the half court. But the play began higher. Like it was a very high kind of ball screen for Tyler. Bam slipped, got his little dump off in between like the top of the key, top of the chart circle. And then you had Jimmy, you know, cutting baseline, cutting from the wing. And so there's you can make it work. Like there's space for it too, but we just don't have them together enough. And then like I say, you got J-Lip on either wing. They should be cutting, they should be moving, they should be slashing. You know, we should have multiple kind of cutting actions. And I don't know, it just seems like we just don't, for whatever reason, or stop.
Right. And I think that I always feel like at some point the offense finds a way.
Yeah.
So I'm not as concerned as I am about the defense. I'm very concerned about the defense. Where the hell did it go?
I don't know. I don't want to I don't want to hog the ball, but again, I have feelings there. Whatever you want to say about those two that left, there was a tenacity, there was a heart, there was kind of a, for the most part, a determination, and like there was some fundamental like just grit about them, about Max and Gabe. I don't care, I'm gonna say it. And it's not to say that it's not present in Josh or it's not present in Caleb, but like there's just been a lot of defensive lack of discipline. I've seen so much like poor footwork out of like Josh that's stressing me out. But then we were talking about point of attack, and we talk about it in the post game. Like point of attack is kind of sus. And so now I'm a rookie. I'm JJJ on the other side. I'm like, damn, okay. I'm aware that there's some leakage out on the perimeter. So now my attention is here. My dude is whizzing behind my head. And it's just so when the shell is cracked, you know, it makes it easier for the rest of it to kind of erode too. You got Bam in a drop more, and that's, you know, kind of whatever. But when we do get him switched out, in possessions where we do still get him switched out, we're still vulnerable inside. So I don't know, man. And the defense is supposed to be, you know, that's supposed to be the calling card. Exactly. Defense supposed to travel, and it is not traveling.
And I'm not trying to discount the fact that Jimmy's been injured.
Correct.
So, you know, he's not there. But man, it wasn't, you know, let's be realistic. It wasn't great while he was there.
Correct.
But yeah, there is a steep fall off when he's not there, and I think that like, excuse me, Caleb hasn't been at the level that we're accustomed to seeing him play at, and part of that is due to the knee injury. We know that. Yeah. I just think they also expected more out of Josh, especially with ball containment. I think that that was probably primarily what they thought they would get from him. Yep. And we're not getting that. We're not getting that from him. We're not getting anybody on the back line.
Yeah.
So, you know,
unless it's Kyle switch down there for no reason, smacking down, and he's great at that, but that's only going to get you so much. Right.
So, and then when you look at what you have now going into the next game, which means you got no Jimmy, you got no Haywood, you got no Josh, you probably got no Caleb, I'm assuming.
Yep.
So defensively, and I hate to say it, but like there's a part of me that feels like at this point, Bam should stay home.
Stay home where? What do you mean?
He needs near the basket.
Oh, yeah.
I think at this point, like you're gonna. I think maybe you got to start out a little bit higher with your defensive pressure. You might have to get who's the best defensive player we got left over there, like as far as guards.
In black and red, Jamal Cain.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the task is more manageable if he's guarding a guard than Paul George.
Yeah. But we got the Lakers next.
Oh, and they starting all forwards.
They starting all forwards.
All forwards.
All forwards. And that's why, like, this is a tough, like, I don't know. It's tough. And so
because
so you're talking.
because
Go ahead.
Braun has the ball.
Yep. Who you starting on him? Because you got to put Bam on AD. You got Bron, AD, Jared Vanderbilt, Rui. Who's the fifth? Because they recently changed the lineup. I forget who the fifth
Right.
is.
It was all forwards.
It's all threes, fours, and fives. And so your point about, like, maybe, you know, keeping Bam home some, I'm with that. I'm for that. But I do think that there is something to the argument. So, like, that whole Eddie Johnson thing a little while ago about whether or not Bam is intimidating kind of at the rim, whatever.
Right.
I have feelings on that, but I do think Bam, when it comes to his stoppage kind of at the rim, I feel like he does, at least to me, he does feel like he gets most of his I'll say block specifically from help and from, like, rotating over and having, like, a kind of a little bit of a running start. When we talk about them defensively in the seasons past, when they were, you know, good, it was when we were doing the heavy Bam switching.
Right.
And when the ball would find its way to the inside, then, you know, we kind of have a problem. But as long as he was switching out, it felt like we were at least protecting the paint entry a bit better. And I don't know how you balance
I think
the two of those.
I think for me, because with this stretch, they need him to put up buckets. Like, there's no, you know, I can't see him chasing around somebody on the perimeter.
Yeah.
And
but is he gonna out bucket himself? Like, is he himself gonna out bucket get all these 3, 4s, and 5?
Right. It's, you know, I think the idea would be easier if it wasn't the Lakers either that start all forwards.
Yes, because after them is the Suns, Phoenix, and Brad is back, and they're looking good, or like they're gelling. I'll say.
So it's gonna be interesting because I don't know what you do with that matchup.
Yeah, I feel like that's the most. I don't know. That matchup presents the biggest task kind of to date.
Because do you start Love?
Probably.
Like, how do you counter? Because even with them doing all forwards, it's still a lot of size. With AD and Bron, that's a lot of size right there in itself.
Yep. Rui has good size.
Rui has good
size. I can't. Who the fuck is their fifth? But yeah, I don't know. Maybe you do start Kevin, and then okay, but AD is still like an overwhelming type of size. There are levels and tiers of size. AD is an overwhelming. Joel, Jokic, overwhelming bigs.
Right.
So I don't know. It might get, but do they go to the zone? They probably do go a decent amount of zone and try to kind of like pack it in and be better in their rotations about it.
Because I would definitely force the Lakers to try to outshoot me from in the zone.
Yep.
But man,
that zone's been weird.
It's been weird. You know what also I feel like they're not rotating. Like, their heads aren't even like, as the ball moves, I don't feel like they're moving.
It's interesting. Whereas I felt like we used to over rotate, and we would over rotate, but still
be able.
So if I over rotate from like 1 to 2, and the next person comes with me, like, there's still space in the over rotation for the next one to get there and you to get back to kind of. But now I feel like it's like less of that, and it's a lot of kind of digging. And like, yeah, sure, but we're not getting bodies in front of other bodies.
So, like, what did you make of the Clippers from the corners? Because they were...
I have to... That is one of the things I'm going to study when I kind of do my rewatch. Because I was watching all of the things. But, like, we got demolished, like, blown to bits just from kind of moving to the corner. And I feel like some of it was out of the zone. We're not getting that bottom person out, but the way that they move their top 2 people, depending if it's that 2-3 that I don't like, they do kind of a 1-3-1 that's in, and then they do this thing where it's like 1-1, and like 3 in the back, but the bottom forwards are a bit higher than the
Right.
center kind of in the middle. And I don't know. It's just I set up 3 on one side. That's just 2 quick passes. And now, are you going to get here or not? They have to move. They got to commit to moving.
Right.
It's porous though. Like it's shoddy. This isn't the Heat defense of old.
No.
It's not the Heat defense
No.
that we're used to.
No.
Even when
And
the
with,
Heat defense was suspect.
right. And with guys out, this is just it's putting extra wear physically and mentally on other guys.
Mentally.
So we have to it's interesting because if I saw Norm in that corner one more time,
Just hey girl, hey y'all, I'm here.
right,
Ew.
just open.
Left
Just
corner, right corner, both
right,
sides
just
of the floor.
literally just running back and forth. Cause and somebody said on Twitter his favorite pass is a pass to him.
I'm weak. I don't even know what that means. How does that even happen?
I don't know, but I just thought
Yeah,
that was
that's
hilarious.
that low
But
man rotation. Mm.
it also says something. So Jimmy, Hayward, Caleb is what
Mm-hmm. Injured, hurt,
missing
missing. Yep. Yep.
because they do. We can say if healthy, they make a huge difference in what you're looking
Yes. Yeah.
at. And it's a tall task, so it's kind of like you feel a certain way being like, oh, you should be better because
Right.
it's a tall task.
Right.
But
You don't want to
then
be overly critical of the
right,
skeleton
right,
crew.
right. But you also know that like
Yeah.
there are areas in which no, you could just do better.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Some of these things aren't Jimmy specific capabilities. Some of these things
Right,
are poor attention to detail and bad discipline. I don't care
right,
if you Jamal, Jimmy, like James
right,
Ahame. These
right.
are
It
things.
it could be. So
Yeah.
how do they keep float and basically keep themselves top 5 at this point?
What's the standings now? Let me go look. Because
Right
I don't
now
know.
they're 5th right now. They just went
I
from 4th to 5th.
excuse me. And I think we lose these next 2 games. You know
And
what? I
it's
think we have a better chance against Phoenix just from a size perspective. But that's a loaded offensive team. So I don't know how we stay afloat. And then what even does kind of a float look like? Where are the standings?
like I feel like they have to go into All-Star break top 5.
Okay.
Like I think that they
Why do you feel that?
um because we don't know what happens. We don't
Yeah.
know if this is a team that looks to make moves, if this is a team that wants to just get healthy and ride it out. So I feel like I lean towards the ride it out, and for the guys that are there, I feel like that's confidence building. If
See?
you
So
can
go ahead. I'm sorry.
if you can stay afloat
Mm-hmm.
with the guys that you got, and then you
Yeah.
can go into like All-Star break top 5, I feel like with the guys that you have, that's building confidence.
Yeah.
I feel like
You
if
know,
you slip and you find yourself 7th or 8th or even out of the playoff spots at that point, it's a lot of guys looking at themselves. And it's a lot and say what you want, but it's a lot of guys looking at other guys.
yes to that. And yes to a lot of guys looking at themselves, but even then, like I would want them to feel a level of accountability within themselves and
Right.
their contribution to either the slippage or maintaining or whatever. But like we just said, there has to be like a level, there has to be some expectation setting, like some level setting on what should genuinely be expected of this current kind of available group. I'm looking at the standings now. 5th, 19-4, 1 game above the Pacers, and that's just because we've played one more game. 1 game
Right.
above the Pacers, 1 loss and 1 win better than the Knicks and the Cavs. Knicks made moves, going to try to find some life there. I know you've been watching the Cavs this season. I don't think we fall ninth. I don't think we get close to kind of what the Nets and Bulls have going on. But yeah, 5 through 8, there's always this room for
Right.
for movement. It's tough. But
All right.
the thing that always that and I'm gonna let it go. The thing that is always, I guess, beneficial at the end when we have these Miami Heat type of seasons is that as long as we can find ourselves kind of in the hunt, the
Right.
dudes who have been here are battle
Right.
tested. They're not afraid of, they've seen more than they probably
Right.
would have
Right.
seen had we just been playing a fully healthy team.
Right. And I think that's for me where I don't want them to fall below the fifth seed. Well, even if you go into the playoffs and that's where you are,
Yeah.
hey, better than last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's going to be whatever it's going to be, but at least you're giving yourself a different type of chance. Last year, you didn't even have a puncher's chance. Like you were on the ropes with 2 minutes left. Like
Yeah.
that was chaotic. But at least if you can,
Yes.
like that was chaotic and
That was
stressful
chaotic as hell.
for all that were watching.
Ooh.
So I kind of want them to even if you're just going to hover around that fourth, fifth seed and try to get some semblance of what it looks like to be healthy and kind of rock it out. Because I don't know what Jimmy has in the tank. I feel like if my man is $3 away from E, when it's time to roll it up in the playoffs, he gonna give you your $3. He's gonna put it out there on the line. So I feel like if everybody else can give a little something, and it gives them, because some of these dudes need some confidence. Like you can watch them play, and you could say, okay, like you need to string some good games together, because if there's no moves, this is your team.
Right.
For better or for worse, this is all you got rolling into the playoffs.
What is it? They like their team accept reality.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's it.
Yeah.
So
Where do
if you go ahead.
Where do you feel? So I know a lot of this is we talking about the guys and their kind of individual kind of efforts and things. How have you felt about Spo so far? Again, a lot of it is the guys and how they're comporting themselves.
Right.
And I'm not saying Spo is not putting them in good position, but just kind of what have been your feelings from a coaching perspective?
Like I get it, because Spo does that thing where he needs to see players in different situations with different lineups and to get to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
But I also think that like we're at like a delicate part of the season where that nitty-gritty may not happen right now. So, sometimes you got to roll with who you need to roll with, and I might get you in on Tuesday. Like this, because I feel like you got to get wins now.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in these, because they've been in most of these games that they've lost. They've been in these games. So I feel like you got to get some of these games, and sometimes you look on the court and you're like, why is this guy out there? But I think also that he has faith in these guys, or he wouldn't be playing them. That is one thing I really think.
I mean, is it, or he wouldn't be playing him, or do we really not have choices?
Well, they don't have any choices. Like if you look at who stayed home and who's on the bench, they got no choices. So
no choices.
We gotta rock with these guys.
Yeah.
But I also kind of feel like maybe sometimes we need to put them in better positions to be successful if they're out there, whether they're giving you 5 minutes or they're giving you 15.
Yeah.
Because at this point, like, what people don't understand, like Nicky's going to be up and down, because that's pretty much how they've been using him. He's in the G League, he's not. He's in the G League, he's not. So there's not going to be a lot of consistency there, because he hasn't built it up yet within himself to be a consistent NBA player. but you can't tell me we can't use the big body.
Every time he come in, if he don't do nothing else, he's immediately getting you a rebound and
Yeah.
and going. It's
Right.
him and Triple J who I feel like seek to push through the dribble.
Right. Right. Well, they also seek to try to do what the team needs.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's I think it's a young thing, but it's also they're mature
Mm.
and they're not giving you me first basketball,
Mm-hmm.
which I really appreciate because
Yeah.
you can't have everybody trying to seek out their own things. Like
Right.
you got to have, and it's sad to say, but you got to have some people who read the script and stick to it.
Yeah.
But I think that like they have to also figure out a way, which at some point we'll get into, I'm sure in the next week or so. But we have to discuss how Tyler and Jaime can exist together, because there's points where it looks okay, and then there are points
Mm-hmm.
where they look like they met yesterday.
I agree, and I think at its best so far, it's looked okay.
Yeah. So
But we've seen that.
yeah. So uh, that's a train that's also on the track that we're gonna have to address. But who do we have next? We got the Lakers and we got.
Phoenix.
All right. What do you think they finish with? Do they beat both? Do they split?
I think.
And we're saying all things stay equal. Everybody that's home is still at home.
Yeah, the people that we know been out stay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they lose, man. I think we lose to the Lakers, and I don't think that we have enough to stop Phoenix defensively, and I know that we don't have enough to keep up with them offensively. I think that we could maybe not keep up with them offensively in the way of like playing their game. But I think that there is something to like, I don't know, making KD and Book and Brad, make these guys defend, but they have a good cast. Like they have a good supporting group. Yusuf Nurkic has been doing a lot of nice things for them. A Kogi has been like they have a team. So I don't know. I genuinely think that we finish this road trip 1-4, having lost these last two games, which is why that Jazz game pissed me off.
Right.
That Jazz loss was so unnecessary and like such a bad loss. Like, that's a wasted game, given that you can pencil in LA and Phoenix as quote unquote schedule losses. When you have opportunities to get these wins, get them.
And it's interesting. I actually think they could beat the Lakers. I don't have faith in their offense.
Yes, I agree.
So
if they can muck it up defensively,
they can muck it up. But I really have no faith in the Lakers offense. So I think they could beat the Lakers.
And the Lakers offense. Okay, I thought you were talking about our offense. No, I'm with you.
I have no faith in the Lakers offense. And you gonna tell me AD going for 40? Okay, I gotta see it. So
he should be
right, but come on, I gotta see it.
Right.
Okay, so I have no faith in that. It's
Jimmy's not there to guard LeBron.
Yeah,
Ame is too young to know like all of the LeBron tendencies.
Right. I don't know. There's something.
I feel you though. I get
it. The Lakers are a
it.
team that'll let you hang around. They'll let so if you can keep it close.
And so will we.
yeah. So I see that too.
I feel you.
I don't think we beat Phoenix. If they have all three of their guys, I just don't know how we offensively keep up with them.
I agree.
Like that's my biggest thing with the Suns. Because honestly, I'll say they'll let us get 110, but they'll probably
and they're gonna get 145.
Right. So I think that's where I am with that. I just any chance I got to see somebody beat LeBron, I just want to see that anyway. So
I'm looking at the most recent Phoenix box score, and KD, yeah, KD didn't play last game. Book gave you 21. I think Brad gave you 21. And then the worst of their group kind of, did things. Eric Gordon, Goodwin, Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen
Ted
is a
Cruz?
pesky motherfucker. Yes. Young Ted Cruz. Katie didn't play last game, so.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's a chance. I'm saying there's a chance.
There's a chance. All right, so we'll see what happens, but we're gonna wrap this up, and hopefully we can at least at the least say we can get the split.
Yeah.
And prepare for a different week, and maybe a new week, new outcome, new team. Who this?
The game before that, Katie was in. Katie had 30. They played Orlando. Kevin had 31. Brad had 25. Devin had 21, but they only beat Orlando by 5. They got 6 points off the bench, and so Orlando was hanging in there with them.
Right.
Yes, so I'm saying there's a chance.
There's a chance.
Always a chance.
If you hang around, you do good things.
Yeah.
You let Duncan Robinson run the offense, then you might win. This is where I'm at this point. This is where I'm at. Let it run on Duncan.
Bam DHOs. I don't care.
Let it run on Duncan. I got Bam giving you 30 against the Lakers. I got it. I see it. I see it.
I want to. I really want to. That's length and that damn jump shot. Is he going to actually attack dudes? I don't know.
Because he
could.
Want to see.
Because he could.
They're playing all forwards.
Yeah. Yep.
The time is
all
now.
Length.
The time is now. He's gonna get to the line. He get to the line 12 times.
And that's what I was gonna say. How many free throws? Yep.
So it could happen, but we'll see. And hopefully, we finish this week off with some good wins.
Yeah.
We kind of pray on it a little bit. see what we could do. I'm gonna have G put a little tussin on it. Have G do a little sage, and maybe we'll get back Jimmy. Hamish,
that's what's been missing.
Caleb.
Gianni has let this season down. He ain't broke out the sage. He didn't go. We call it his energy lady.
Exactly.
Go to the energy lady.
We got to figure all that out, and we're gonna get out of here. You guys have a good night. Good blessing. Drink a lot of water. Stay healthy. Yes. Stay safe in these streets.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.